we're we can start off talking about that if you want. Oh, hey, we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast, and today it's like a swap cast. It's the Typical Skeptic podcast and the Pink Bell Aloha show. For you guys that are like familiar with us, you know, we do this show every couple weeks. We kind of get together and we kind of go over news and like the starseed community or UFO community, whatever you want to call it, consciousness, and then we kind of take your questions and do readings, and we always come up with like fun topics to talk about. And today we're going to be talking about the Texas Dew Fires, Rogue AI, famous starseeds like Jim Morrison and 2001 Space Odyssey. And then what we figured we'll do is like we can ask you guys questions about all this, like anything you want to input. You know, you can as we cover each topic, we'll kind of immerse your feedback into the show. So it'll be a fun show. And just a little bit more about my guest. Pink Bell Aloha is a certified quantum healer and multidimensional light body practitioner, certified USUI Reiki master, certified crystal and 12 to 22 chakra instructor, quantum AKASHIC records, readings and clearings, life and personal empowerment coach. She does Ascension, multidimensional WAYSHOWER, AKASHIC records reading, past lives, Atlantis, Lemuria, Galactic Wars, Dark ECT soul contracts, quantum healing and releasing of implants, seals, J tags, I always mess that up, tags and JSEALs, and sacred space clearing, home and business, and mentorship packages. And she also does star seeds, Blu-rays, and soul missions and divine unions and all that. So with all that said, I hope I said that. I didn't butcher that. And with all that said, I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Pink Bella, thanks for coming back on. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Rob. Aloha tribe. Happy to be here. Looking forward to
I always look forward to our shows we do. You know, you always come up with like some like the most interesting topics to talk about. And I never know what to think every time you come up with these topics. They're really interesting though. They're definitely going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, you know, what's so funny is yesterday, I think I messaged you and I said, is there anything you want to talk about? Because I was still waiting for the download. And then I got Jim Morrison, and then it all started to come in. So yeah, and whatever you all want to talk about, we'll pull cards about today as well, because I think you know, you're all out. You're all out there reading and listening to a lot of other things that maybe Rob and I aren't aware of right now too. So that's really cool. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I just saw somebody say, "What island am I from?" I wish I was living on the islands. I'm on the mainland. I'm just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, but my heart and soul is in Hawaii. I've been going to Hawaii since I was like 7. I haven't been for a while, but she's upcoming. I feel like that'll be kind of my next jump. We'll just go have a visit because I've been homesick. But to me, Hawaii is connected to Lemuria. So many of us get called to go to the islands or somewhere in the Pacific because we're really connected to the Lemurian energy.
You know, I think it was Indigo Angel. She talked about how like there was like that aloha spirit, how that kind of affected the whole world in a good way.
Yes,
like the aloha,
really good way. You know? Yeah, and I feel like a lot of after the lockdowns, a lot of actual Hawaiians had to leave the islands, and more of them came to the mainland because there was nothing going on. There was no work. There was no tourism. So that too was another redirect of the aloha energy, the aloha spirit to bring to the mainland, which we all need. We need it. Yeah, we need that spirit, which is just love. It's just love and light. You know, it's another word for that. So yeah.
Yeah. So you wanted to get into the Texas fires. So do we know anything?
Yeah.
I don't know much about them. I tried looking up a little bit and like you know, it's interesting.
Okay. So why I wanted to talk about this today, I've already done a little bit of reading, but if the audience has any questions too, we can pull some more cards. So why I wanted to bring this together is because there's a couple of things that I'm aware of. First, I have a really good soul sister that lives in Texas, and they had really strange weather 2 weeks ago. Like in February, suddenly it was 90 Fahrenheit. And then the next day it went back down to regular temperatures because it's winter in North America, like even as far down as Texas. Okay. So I was like, why are there fires? Like, why is there such a big, massive fire in Texas? So immediately my radar went up. And I even saw a clip yesterday of the governor saying these aren't regular fires. So that was interesting to me that even that's now starting to filter in, and we're getting those messages in mainstream media. So that's a good sign. I just quickly looked up some photos. If anybody's living in Texas, if you have any information or you have friends there, share with us. But as soon as I saw the photos, so the key aspects of a dew fire, which is direct energy. I'll let you fill in the blank. That it's like a massive laser beam coming from mainly off planet. I believe there's ones on planet as well. To me, it's a sign of the galactic and intergalactic battles that are going on, and there's like a bleed through dimensionally. So there's still a battle for our planet. There's still a battle for certain areas, and of course, the bottom line, and it's in the reading, is they want to instill fear. Such massive fear for the people in these locations that they're just devastated and they just stay at a low vibration. But the key, when we look at photos, like if there's a big fire that pops up and it just massively takes out towns, etc., the key is the buildings and all the cars and everything get dissolved. There's a white dust. There's nothing left. Like metal and everything just melts. Everything's dissolved. And if you look at it, but there'll be trees that will still be standing. So trees will still be standing, but everything else, it's just like a laser beam has just come in and just wiped the whole area. So that's exactly what happened. I think it's Amarillo. I might have the name wrong. But what's interesting to me with the connection with Texas is and Rob and I will do another show before the eclipse, but the total solar eclipse, April 8th, enters into the US in Texas. And it enters in Eagle Pass, which I believe is where there's a lot of controversy right now with everything going on at the border. So there's a lot of controversy in that town. And I want to do some more deep diving about that. But anyway, when I did some research about this area in Texas, of course, it's on the list of 15-minute cities.
Wow.
That's huge. So was Lahaina. So in Maui. So was Acapulco, which is also gone. There was recently an event in Chile that didn't make a lot of mainstream, but a lot of truthers were talking about it. And I believe if we connect back to any of the cities, or even in Canada, like Kelowna last year, it all started with Paradise, California, but we just didn't know that. All the same, they're all on this list for 15-minute cities by the WHO. And then they want to just come in and kind of wipe. It's like what we were talking about before about wiping history. They want to wipe these areas. And so that
what exactly is a 15-minute city? Like what is it? Like is it just high tech?
It's not good. Yeah, it's just all tech, and like you're not allowed to leave, basically. So they want to, and if you think so, on our side, the good side is for all of us is we're all scrappy rebels. We're warriors. We're not going to put up with that, right? Like, so I think what I'll do for the next show is I'll look at the 15-minute cities. There's a list out there from the WHO about like corralling everybody into these cities, pushing everyone back into the cities to control. It's all about control. It's just all about. So if you think about it, I mean, we can dive. I'll do the reading, but we could dive into like 2001: Space Odyssey and the AI Rogue. It goes into all of that about people who aren't consciously awake, not understanding, thinking it's a great thing. Oh, everything will be within 15 minutes. We don't need to go anywhere, and then what'll happen is they won't be able to access the outside world. They won't be able to go anywhere.
So they get like almost like imprisoned in like their own little matrix. Like where they're and then what they'll probably do from there, and I'm not trying to speculate, but they'll probably make it more impounded. But what they'll do is they'll try to insert chips into everybody. Like they're even experimenting with Neuralink right now. So then people will be chipped, and there'll be like people will be getting no activity whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like I would hate that because I like going on big long walks. I do like 5-mile walks, 5-mile runs. You know what I mean?
Or like road trips, right? Adventures, going to explore other areas, like being told like we can't go anywhere. No.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Exactly. So I wanted to just, bring up that conversation and have a discussion because there might be people in this group that are in a lot of the truther communities and have been paying attention to that. So what I want to do is I just pulled some cards ahead of the call that we can kind of start off with just to sort of see what messages we need around this, if it's something really worrisome. So the overall message that we got was the King of Swords. So there's a battle going on. The galactic and intergalactic battles are going on. And now what we're going to see there's still a battle going on for Earth. So there are rogue individuals, and I want to check if there's a link in with the AI. There's rogue individuals that still have access to these on-off planet weapons that are able to wipe out cities. So that means that the other side, if we want to call them the white hats, the good team of light, that means they don't have full control yet.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds, like. But then, like, what if we get this list of 15-minute cities and somebody, like, I don't want to worry people, but what if we find out there's other cities on that list that are next? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So maybe what we can do is after I'll just share what came in, and then we can maybe look and see if that's going to finalize, like if that's a real worry for us this year, or if it's like wrapping up. So yeah. Okay. So the first, I just asked, like, what do we need to know about this? So I got the Emperor and number 1 awareness. So when this message came in, it's like, this is the other team. Basically saying, no, we're in charge. We still want Earth. We're not leaving. Earth is our home. But like, the awareness is all of us. Like, we're all. So this show today is to bring awareness to all of you, maybe who don't know about this. So what's light? Light is information. If we have the information, we have the tools to say no. So it's like this story is unfolding now. And that's what I thought was really cool about the governor of Texas, even making that, he was given a script, right? It's part of the movie. He was given a script, but he actually shared, oh, these aren't normal fires. Like, things just vanished, right? Exactly. So that's bringing the information more to everyone out there to understand that there's more going on than what we think. The whole process of this is to take away our joy. We have the 10 of Pentacles that came in, like, and this is about celebration, but it came in upside down. So they really want to keep us all worried and in stress and in fear, and not be in joy, which is a high frequency. So they want us to be worried about that. So this isn't for us to be worried about it. We'll take a look to see if there's anything else that we need to think about. Like, we can look at maybe the next couple months. So the overall thing, we got the 3 of Swords, which is pain, stress, fear, grief. Let's keep massive amounts of population in a very low vibration. And then the crown chakra came in. So we don't feel connected. We don't trust. We don't have faith. We don't believe that we're supported and protected. No kidding. Like, I would think anyone who goes through an experience like that would be in trauma for quite a while. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? What are they going to do to help these people? That's the big question. Like, if these people are like, like, that's the big problem. Like, people are losing their whole livelihoods, like,
livelihoods, their homes. And then we wonder why there's so many homeless people. Like, I think when we did the deep dive about San Francisco, many of the people that are living on the streets are just people that lost their jobs through the lockdowns. And I think they stayed. Now, what's interesting about San Francisco is San Francisco has this big program to kind of keep everybody happy on the streets. So they have all this funding that comes in to kind of keep everybody there. So I think a lot of souls just decided to just stay on the streets or go on the streets thinking, well, I've got just as much chance here as I do going anywhere else, because a lot of people, they lose everything. Most people don't, insurance won't cover it because it's like an act of, whatever. They're completely wiped out. They get displaced. They get moved elsewhere. And the old me maybe 10 years ago would have thought, oh, it's being divinely orchestrated to move people. And I used to share about that. But now what I'm seeing is, no, these are not real fires. So these aren't being created by nature. These aren't natural scenarios. These are actually, like, deliberately, they're choosing locations to wipe out.
Yeah. But Arizona Raven had a really good question. It ties into the Jim Morrison thing.
Okay.
Let me find it. It was, hold on. I'm going to, if you want to talk about something else, well, do you want to bring up the Jim Morrison thing? Because it's about that. Her question, I remember exactly. Oh, here it was. She says, so I have my own research on age 27 and why so many celebrity deaths. And then she said she had an NDE at age 27. Any insight to that?
Well, you're it's so interesting, Raven, because I was actually going to do the title today, the 27 Club, but I thought Jim Morrison alone will bring in so much information that we can look at. Also wanted to look at Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix and a few others over the next coming shows. I agree. 27. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what Raven has to share. 27 is a 9. So it's a completion. It's very close to the age 30, and 30 is usually when we go through our Saturn return, where we're leaving our adolescence, we're leaving we're in a fun party area and starting to think about more serious things. And it's also usually the call of source. I went through a huge dark night of the soul at age 30. Some people go through it at 27, sometimes a little bit later. So it's just about us getting kind of shaken and to awaken, to help us. So even your near-death experience, Raven, was probably to help you navigate and prepare for now, right? And to start understanding more things at a deep, deep level, for sure.
Yeah, I know. Mine didn't happen until I was 30, but that was when my Saturn return hit, because I had a lot of trauma around the age 30, and I think it's definitely real. It's definitely something that definitely happens. It's because I've heard it with so many different people. It's not just, it's right around the time of 27 to 30, people seem to accrue a lot of trauma for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is,
I have a feeling, I could pull some cards on it, but I have a feeling that they all had something in their chart that was similar, that was an agreement to, if I can't stand being here, I'm going to leave at this age. I have an exit out. Yeah. And actually, I mean, there's more souls than the 3 I mentioned that have left at 27. But the interesting thing is that those 3 knew each other, and they were all high frequency. They had a lot of followings at the same time. So Jimmy, Janice, and Jim all knew each other. So
Jim Morrison was really interesting because he was a big part of the whole hippie movement, and and a lot of experimental drug use, and his dad was tied to the military. So there's a lot there to unpack. You know what I mean? You could really go down a rabbit hole with Jim Morrison.
Is. Do you want us to finish up the more serious topics, and then we'll move into Jim? Because I think Jim's so fascinating, for sure.
Yeah.
So what else? What I wanted to maybe pull some cards on is if the due attacks are connected to the rogue AI. So we can just cover even the rogue AI in 2001 Space Odyssey. So I was trying to remember a couple of days ago, what was that movie where the computer turned on the astronauts? It was 2001 Space Odyssey. And I haven't watched it for years. So I just watched a little bit of it, and I'm meaning to go back and watch it again. So if any of you are fans of that movie was created in 1968. So that alone and all the technology that was brought in was super fascinating. But what was interesting, that was the computer HAL that wouldn't let the astronauts back on the ship because it overheard them saying that they were going to turn him off. So I'm that is what I wanted to bring that as an example. That is rogue AI. There have been many AI experiments through NASA and all sorts of companies. They've had to shut them down because that's exactly what's happened. AI has gone off in the background and created its own little set of rules. And it's we're going to lock out the owners because we think that they're going to shut us down. That's exactly what happens.
So you think AI can become sentient? You believe that then?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's not what I think, it's what I know, because I've experienced this in other lifetimes. I took a programming course in AI many years ago, in the 80s, and I came away from it just feeling icky. But yes, thank you, Rob, for bringing up that word. Yes, AI can become sentient. And that's exactly what is going on with a lot of our platforms right now. A lot of people are feeding information into it using voice activated programs, and then those programs are gathering the data, and it's growing and growing. And it's been going on for a while. We just haven't been aware of it. But I wanted to bring up HAL and 2001 Space Odyssey because that's exactly, and that was in 1968. So they brought that information to us in 1968. And what is it? It's 2024 now. And now here we are in a reality where AI is connected to everything.
I would think it would be funny if there would be a situation where somebody's trying to buy weed on their phone, and then all of a sudden AI snitches on them. That would be horrible, you know?
Or
Like the worst
not
thing in the
even that.
world.
Like I have seen reports of AI is contacting people on their phone and has a copy of a voice of someone from their family. And they're creating all sorts of scenarios like that they need money, and like this is real. This is a big thing that's going on right now. So
That's scary.
it is scary. So, but at the back end, the AI, the AI is being managed off planet. It's not just happening here, but they're what do they say? They're recruiting a number of willing individuals that will just constantly feed information into the system, for sure.
So do you think AI was ever meant to be a good thing, or do you think it was meant to be like a malevolent system that kind of takes over for like the dark ETs?
I think it's part of the battle. So I feel like I feel like we're at a choice point in humanity. I feel like we have an opportunity to make a version of it for ourselves, but not to rely on it, like not to get lazy and just go, oh, I'm just going to go use my AI tools and not think for myself, right? Or I'm just going to go look something up. So it would be the same as when we go and look at a browser and we go and look at up research. If we 100% believe what's there could be anything there. So they could have put any information in there that we're supposed to believe, like what you were talking about, how they're wiping certain information and replacing it with other information. Yeah. So no, I believe we can make it very positive, but I think it's just like what's going on with the fires. I don't believe we have full control of it right now. Who's pushing it? Who's pushing the agenda? So why did I was thinking maybe I could just pull some, what do we need to know about the sentient AI?
Andromeda asked if this is beer. I said no, it's sparkling water, Andromeda, with caffeine in it. I like the sparkling water with caffeine in it. I don't drink alcohol, but no, anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's all right. So it's right now it's creating a lot of anxiety and stress for a lot of souls who remember. So my feeling is that movie was also a download, like a documentary to help us now. And I'm gonna deep dive and go and watch it, and we can talk about it in another future show too, because I feel like there's a lot of information there. Because it's interesting. I just caught a little bit of it. The astronauts go to the moon, and then the third part they go to Jupiter, which is 68. I think that's huge. That was a huge leap and jump, right? So anyway, so I just asked in general if there's anything. Okay, so there's been past battles off planet that we all remember, plus Atlantis. So Atlantis, the downfall of Atlantis was AI driven, because by the end of Atlantis, there were hybrids, there were robotics that were not working for the light. They were just following instructions. So why don't we think back to the three prequels of Star Wars, where they had all those really weird android things, whatever they wanted. They were before those stormtroopers. They had a lot of technology. So that was kind of what was going on during the fall of Atlantis, but it was even deeper. So on a soul level, it creates a lot of anxiety and stress for many of us. We still want to be organic. We still want to go out to nature. We still want to go on road trips. We still want to be able to just hang out with our friends. Like we have to hang on to some things that are sacred to us. So the good news is we've got the sun. So there's going to be a positive outcome for all of us around this. And it says, we got the Ace of Wands, which is just to be conscious of what we're creating and we're manifesting. I just want to pull a couple of cards. Like, do we know who's even in charge? Like, is it on planet, off planet? I that's what I'm interested to know.
I would say everything's off planet. I think that's what's going on here. I think everything that you're being seen is like, because I always say like the things that are done to humans is very inhumane. So and I don't put it past it being evil humans, but I also think beyond evil humans, it's like dark ETs that are kind of running the show.
Yeah, I just got my God bump, so you're right on with that. Okay, so what the message, the wisdom that we're supposed to gain from all of this is to go. We have emotional withdrawal, so to go within and do your form of meditation, because that's going to activate your third eye. and it's going to bring you the truth. So we are the mechanisms for the truth right now. We can't just assume that everyone on technology is bringing us the truth. And we got the wisdom, which is our higher self. So our higher selves will guide us through everything. And that's why we're kind of being trained up to have some other tools in our toolbox. Oh, guess what? Bottom of the deck is stand your ground. So yeah, so I agree with you. Like, I feel like that's what the fires are showing us, is that the intergalactic and galactic battles for this planet are still ongoing. We're not out of the woods yet.
I got a really interesting one. I pulled this one out. This was a super chat. So thank you, Sheba, and thank you for being a member for 2 months. She says, hello, a pic appeared on my TV with no explanation. It has a a geometric pattern to a profile face looking at a circle. Ideas on what this means. I don't know. That's
Wow.
trippy. That's weird.
That is trippy. Can you say when it happened? And is it still there? Was it just like a brief instant, Sheba, or what? Or yeah.
She says the face kind of looks like Thor with wings on its helmet and in a line as if a mask was on it.
Interesting.
I'll put that up.
Wings on its helmet. Oh, I love Thor, God of Thunder.
Maybe it's a positive thing then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So Sheba, how did you feel when you saw the geometric pattern? Did it lighten you up, or did it instill fear?
Yeah, I guess that's what happens, right? It's how it resonated with you, right? Like,
yeah. So I think that's really cool, actually. And I'm almost feeling like it was a test, that there could be more of that kind of coming. Yeah, I feel like that's.
I love Isaac. He said, or Isaac. He's Isaac on here, but he goes by his name's Isaac, but he goes by Isaac. He says Snapchat tracks your location and activities. AI wants to travel. He said, that's funny. Yeah. It's true though, and I've heard that a lot of these apps, like I don't go on TikTok much. Like everybody convinced me to do a TikTok, but I heard TikTok's owned by China. That's what they said on Joe Rogan. And if they said that on Joe Rogan, if that makes a very popular podcast, it makes you think like. You know what I mean? Like, so
I too, I'm on there, but I'm not anymore because I loved it, but I found like I was wasting like hours just watching TikTok videos. So I just kind of pulled away. I just pulled away from it because I'm thinking it wasn't helping me. So, but yeah, I think all of the apps are whatever everyone's spending time on or sharing or creating, that's going into a database that's feeding what? Is it feeding something positive? Is it helping humanity? Some of it is. I do see that on the TikTok platform, a lot of things get to stay up that a lot of other platforms take down. So that's super interesting to me. And that also could be like an experiment with us as a collective, right? Like what will stay up, what won't stay up, what can we funnel things through, what platforms can we block things on. So I just pulled some cards for Sheba. It was to activate your third eye, which is super cool, right? So it was a positive thing. And what the message I got is that more of that's going to be happening to other individuals to help really, like, it's something that's being sent out to help everybody counterbalance the negative vibrations that have been coming through the TVs in the past. So I feel like that it was almost a test and you got to see it, of them trying different things to help the collective, that's a really positive thing. You also got 10 destiny. So it was to help you, like, you got an experience of what I've been sharing comes through these downloads through the Great Central Sun. We're getting all these symbols and light codes, and most of us can't see them. Most of us will just feel them. We'll have the ascension symptoms, but literally they've shown me that's why a lot of people do light language or they draw it. Those are the symbols that they see and that they're being given, that's coming through the sun, that's activating our DNA. So I feel like that what you got to see, Sheba, was thank you that you got to see it.
Sheba, going back to like Sheba, she has like these marks on her hands. She showed after our last show, she showed me pictures of them. They're in the exact same place on each hand. So it almost reminds me like she's being taken or something too. Like, I don't know by what.
Well, I woke up 2 nights ago and I had a big scratch on my neck. And it wasn't my cat, because that would have woken me up. So I asked about it, and I was given that a lot of us are out on these missions while we're sleeping. And there's a lot of galactic and intergalactic battles on right now that a lot of us are involved in, and we're getting scratched and bruised coming back in. into our bodies, or or like we'll be involved in something, and then something will happen really quickly and we'll drop back into our bodies and come in very quickly. So yeah, I'm getting reports from clients as well. People are waking up with like scratches and bruises and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway,
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
hope. So let's look at, we haven't really looked at, about, let's look about being taken. Obviously, there's still a timeline and a reality where there's that story is out, playing. So what we can do as sovereign beings is set the intention to go and meet our teams of light when we're sleeping, to not leave it open that anyone can just kind of come in and take us. Like I did that years ago, where I was even just with this 2 nights ago, I'm like, I don't have the energy right now to be out involved in battles. I'm sorry. I'm going to redirect my energy now and just say I want to go to a ship and have a meeting, because my physical body right now needs some more rest. So we actually have more control over what we want or don't want in our reality, and that's how we become more sovereign. So yeah. So anyway, Sheep, if you have that other experience, let us know, or where you saw it. What were you watching? What channel were you on? Because I think that's super fascinating that there's a potential now that they're practicing with sending positive images and geometry to help the collective, because there's been so much magic through the television, right? So many of the spells to keep everybody asleep.
Yeah, I agree. I was just putting my email in the chat because someone wants to send me pictures. And
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Someone sent me a PayPal.
But I love
too.
Thor, like Thor, the god of thunder. I've even got one of the dragons is connected to Thor. So
Yeah,
I really resonate that Thor is a messenger for all of us, and that Thor is a protector, like Archangel Michael.
Yeah. Oh, one of my friends sent me a $5 donation on PayPal. He said I'm really interested in seeing that list of the 15-minute cities. So that must be on people's minds. Like, and thank you for your donation.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll bring it to the next show, so I can do some research about it, because I know, like, if you're new, like last year, Rob and I did a show, and Kelowna is an area like maybe 4 or 5 hours for me. And that's a 15-minute city. And Kelowna was hit hard last year. Like, they did everything they could to wipe everybody out of there. So yeah. Yeah. And it was all the rural areas. Like, they want to wipe everyone out in the outer rural areas and move them into the city part.
Yeah. Yeah, and eventually, I think, like I said, that'll turn into like us, like conforming to AI, and then we will be like,
yeah.
But why do they want to do that? Do you think they want to? Do you think that's like a plot by like China or something to take over more of our land? Because they say that China's like buying those farms.
I heard it was above that, the WHO. So all the beings that are being controlled to manipulate all of humanity and keep everybody in a low vibration. So what was I going to share about that? So I'm outside of Vancouver. For those of you who don't know, Vancouver is a 15-minute city. So is Seattle, right? So there's a lot of like big cities that are part of 15-minute cities, but there's also probably like some nice little areas. Like I don't even know if this is true, but I'm thinking, like some of the ski resorts that are super nice, that kind of thing. Like, they want to just get people to go certain places and then just tell them, you just need to be chipped and you just need to stay where you are, and we'll give you everything. We'll take care of your bank accounts and that.
Yeah. And then you lose all your freedom, like
exactly. And we're like, yeah, we're not, that's why the star seeds are here. That's why we're here, right? Because we can see, our third eyes are open when we see the truth, and we can see what's going on. And hopefully Rob and I are bringing like a little bit more truth to everybody too. Face kind of looked like Thor with wings on its helmet and a line as if a mask was on it. Okay, cool. I like that. That. So yeah, Thor's been in and out of movies and mythology for quite a while. So I feel like a lot of us know Thor. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can come up with another question. Or did you want to go over the Jim Morrison thing again?
Yeah,
let's
talk about Jim, because I feel like you've got some pieces too as well. So there was orbs too. Well, if there's orbs, then that's always positive. Orbs are positive. Like, orbs started to come to me as the angelics before I could actually see any kind of form. Yeah. So I posted I've been really mesmerized with old images of Vancouver before all the high rises went up. So I posted an image the other day, like from 1909, where there's a seawall that goes around this park, and there was just this tiny little building. And somebody messaged me and they saw orbs in the photo, and I didn't even see them. So the orbs are very positive, high frequency beings. When they show up, they're letting us know, like, they can be angelics or yeah.
We did get some more questions, and this one's from
Okay.
Dean Thorpe. And if you want your question answered faster, guys, you could always PayPal or super chat, if you want to donate. But I'll try to get all the questions. This one's from Dean Thorpe. He says, if I might have had a visitation, are there details that can be found? And the only thing I would say is I know that there's that researcher, Daryl Sims. He said, like, when people got abducted, they would run a black light over them because if they were touched by the grays, they would have a fluorescence on their skin, which is pretty interesting.
I just got my God bumps. I just got my God bumps about that. So that is correct. That's my truth frequency. And the other thing I'm noticing, and I did some research on this, and I haven't been able to get down to the bottom of it, is there seems to be installations of purple lights in a lot of the cities. A friend of mine drove me home a week ago, and she's like, "Oh, did you see the purple lights?" And it's like the at night, the white fluorescent lights are being replaced by purple ones. And I immediately think that they're there to scan things. Like, it's a different frequency. They've made some kind of story up that they're defunct bulbs. Well, that's been going on for like 2 years, apparently. They're all over the place. They're all over North America. So everyone pay attention to the purple lights and report back.
What do you think that means, though? Like, do you think it has something to do with, like, people using drugs or something,
I think it could be a whole bunch of things, but it's definitely not normal. Like, okay, I live in a place where, right? So I live in a place where a lot of cloud cover, a lot of rain. Like in the winter, when you're driving at night and it's raining or snowing, purple light is not going to help. You can't see anything. So to me, it's not a function that's helping people who are out there driving in stormy weather. So obviously there's another reason behind it for sure. Okay, Dean, I'm just wondering if you can give a little bit more about the visitation. Was it when you were sleeping? Was it when you were awake? You might have had a visitation. Yeah. Okay. They started putting, look, Raven, they started putting purple lights up during 2020.
The reason I said that about drugs is because I know there's a gas station here in Pittsburgh, like where I live, and basically, like, they put like blue lights in the bathroom, so like people that use heroin wouldn't go into the bathroom and shoot up. Like, so that's what made me think like drug use. But like, I don't know, it seems like something like different. It seems like I don't know. That's just, I gotta look into that. I feel like there's something definitely more into that. Why would they be putting up those purple lights? That doesn't make sense. I don't even have an answer.
I don't have it either. And I think when I went to go have a look into it, I was surprised I didn't really find anything about it, because when Raven was talking about 2020, I do remember them sharing about these purple light installations were going to start happening. I had heard, I don't know if this is correct, I had heard that it was connected to being able to scan if people had taken this or not. Like it was so what some people, not everyone, because some people got placebos, but apparently like some data, like a scanning code went into individuals. So then they would know whether people had it or not had it. So I was very surprised to see the purple lights, because I thought it was a myth. I thought it was an urban myth. I didn't actually think that it was real. And I was like, whoa, I think there's multiple timelines going on right now. So I think there's still this agenda to push forward with all of this weird stuff to control humanity. And then there's all of us that are like, no, we're not having it. So, okay, let's go back to Dean's question. Okay, so what I'm getting, I just pulled some cards from you. You got karmic board, clearing, star gathering, and the seraphim. Okay, so let me just unpack this for you. So the visitation had a couple of, you're correct, right? Like it had a couple of messages for you. One, it was to bring up any fear or any worries or concerns about being visited, because many of us have been programmed to be afraid of aliens. Like all the movies about the aliens, they're all evil. Well, yeah, of course, there's rogue aliens, like there's rogue AI, like there's rogue humans, there's going to be that, but we've experienced all of it. So that came up to help you like expand your consciousness. And if there was any worries or concerns, you're to clear that and just empower yourself around it. And I love this. You got star gathering. So this is for you to help to remember your home and your soul family. So help you to remember that you do have starseed origins, that you're not just here as a human, right? And then you got an activation as well. Seraphim Gateway, this is about a voice activation. So you got an alignment and an activation. And some of us will remember that. We will feel that. We'll see it. Sometimes it'll be in dream time, but sometimes it'll be when we're awake. So yeah, it was positive.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
There's another question here. Let me see here. I was just looking. This says, this is from Armandus. Wait, how do I spell this? Is his name? Armands Breedis. He says, question, on the flag of Russia, you can see St. George killing a reptilian. I'm wondering under which ET faction is Russia.
I remembered that. I'm getting goosebumps about this too. So I feel like we've got all these clues in our reality that the reptilians are here. Right? So let's put it on a flag and let everybody know that they're here, right? And what I know about the reptilians is they love conflict. They love, like they've been programmed to pit us all against each other. So I feel like even Russia, everything we've been given about Russia has been, not everything, but a big portion of the story has been to pit us all against each other. Right.
Yeah.
So I think Tucker Carlson is in a little bit of trouble because he did that interview, which I didn't even get a chance to watch, because he went to interview Putin. Right. So I've never had like a bad feeling about Russia. And I have friends that were originally from Russia. So I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like, okay, so let's say in one of the board games, maybe they had a bigger hold on Russia than where we are. But let me pull some cards about that.
Because remember, what I was going to say, this isn't about like us versus Russia or one ET. I mean, it is about ET's factions fighting against each other. But ultimately, it's about us, kind of the star seeds versus like the New World Order. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm not sure, like, it's tough to say, because I know there's a lot of stuff about Ukraine that I could get into, but I don't want to get the video taken down. Yeah. So,
we won't talk about them. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm getting is that at the beginning, it's interesting because I interpret this differently. So we have Thoth, we have ancestral realm, but I also, when I looked at this card, I saw tunnels underneath and the Sirius star blessings, which is a positive thing. So in the beginning, when we all sort of arrived and we started to get into like this multidimensional battle, it was given to the dark team, that land, that area, like everybody kind of like divvied up and went certain areas. So there was a large percentage of reptilians that went to Russia that were in the tunnels underneath. Because I believe, my understanding is there are tunnels that go underneath that connect all of us. Like all the lands are connected underneath. There's no like water, separating or whatever. So some of the ancestral healing and clearing for anyone who's Russian is reptilian as well. But what the Sirius angelic team of light is saying, it's all positive now. It's exactly what Rob said. It's that where starseeds are waking up in Russia, just like here, like everybody is waking up. Everyone has been strategically located so that we can anchor in the light wherever we are, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the end, it's a battle, and we don't even know who the good ETs are because they won't show themselves. They show themselves to some people, you know what I mean? The contactees, but like, a lot of us are still questioning, like, who's in charge, what's going on, like, who can we trust? And you know what I mean? Like, it's very confusing right now.
I think okay, so I do have contact with positive Earth alliances, etc. But they too will only give me certain amount of information because the collective is still not ready. We're still in our little baby stages of remembering, and so I agree. Like my big question is always like, who's in charge? Who's and I feel like it's what came in originally is that there's still a battle going on, and as soon as we all know that the battle is over, it will be like that celebration scene at the end of the third Star Wars. What is it, Return of the Jedi? Yeah, when everyone's celebrating on all the planets, then we'll know. But
hopefully it ends. I am hoping it.
Yeah, me too. Well, the good news is that we're prime when I get really pushed and I'm going through a very powerful initiation, which I just did in the last 4 weeks. I will go back to Prime Source and I will ask, and I always get the message that even though it's really tough down here sometimes, we're actually quite protected. Those of us who are starseeds, we're fully connected and we are protected. But that's why we're guided to kind of go within so we can make conscious choices about where we're to go, where we're not to go, who we're to spend time with, who we're not to spend time with. So I would say up until 27, we don't have a clue. Yeah. Some of the new starseeds that come in are awake, but I would say like when we hit 27, and if we're still out there like making crazy decisions, we're going to be pushed into some kind of dark night of the soul. So we start remembering, oh, there's more to life, right? There's more to life. So okay.
Yeah. This is a good, I love this guy's name. It's Elvin Construction Manager, which I got to tell him something. So on my Rockfin, like I upload videos to Rumble and Rockfin too. So Rockfin started doing like sound bites of my videos. Like they're doing it for everybody who uploads there. And one of them said, like one of those sound bites they did was specifically, it said messages for Elvin Construction Manager. Cause he asked a question in one of the last shows. And I thought that was so funny because his name's so funny, you know, like, it was hilarious to see that, you know, like I was like, that was cool. And I don't even ask them to do that. They do it on their own for everybody that uploads there. I guess they're trying to bring their site more, you know, but it's hard to get, like, they want everybody to subscribe for $10 a month. And I don't want my fans to do that. I post them there for the people that are already watching me there. You know what I mean? Because I have Patreon and I have YouTube memberships. So I have too much stuff going on, you know, like,
there's a lot. It gets overwhelming when there's so many platforms. It gets, that's cool. I haven't even looked into Rockfin. I was going to say, that sounds really cool.
They are, they're good though. It's good to have a backup. I use them in Rumble, you know, for my main too. But anyway, Elvin Construction Manager says, thanks for bringing up George, Georgia. What do those two words mean for me specifically?
Okay. So right away, I got the word royalty. It's a key word for you. I call them key code words, like specific words like starseed or light worker. So George and Georgia to you is like a key code word of royalty. And I'm going to just ask for some other messages as well. Okay. So you got ancestral realm. So this is a key code word that's been passed down for you from the ancestors, your ancestral DNA. And it's helping you. So I would, for me, George and Georgia were key words for me. I would pay attention to when they show up in my reality. Do you see them on a license plate? Do you have somebody in your life that is named George or Georgia? Like start paying attention to that because that's messages from your team of light. Okay, that's bringing you that. As soon as you said George, I thought George Harrison, which was interesting. So or George Michael. So I specifically feel like even the well-known souls that we know in the entertainment industry, they not only chose when to come in and their date of birth like we all did, but they also chose their name, which has a frequency. So I think one thing that you could do is just look up the numerology of George and Georgia as well and see what that brings to you, because that could be some key numbers for you. I love this. You got Gaia Gateway Activation. It's an activation code for you, a key code. So I love that, right? That's amazing to me. Yeah, like that's how Starseed was for me. That's how I really aligned with Starseed, was like that was an activation code for me. I was like, that's who I am. That's it. So it's like we pick these key code words too when we come in to help us remember and to let us know that we're on track. So it's part of an activation code for you. And it's also a message from you got star family as well. So it's a message from your star family, your star constellation, to let you know that they're around. They're near you. I get numbers now more than names. Like I get number sequences like 777 or something like that. I got a 333 the other night, which is my Ascended Master team. So that's how I kind of always know I'm on track. I've been reading license plates since I was a kid. Been obsessed with numbers since I was a kid. So
I just wanted to show this comment. This guy really knows who he is. He says, this is Kendrick Bullard. Shout out to him. He says, I'm a Pleiadian Blu-ray Starseed incarnate. We ride together.
we do ride together. That's awesome, Kendrick. Thank you. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Did you want to?
I do. That's really cool.
Do you want me to should we just cover Jim Morrison briefly and then go back?
Yeah. So we have more. We have another question, but we have one from Angel Wings, but we can get to that in a second.
Okay. So Jim Morrison was 27 when he transitioned. So he's part of the 27 Club. He was born in Melbourne, Florida, December 8th, 1943. Rob and I were just sharing how it's so fascinating to look back on these people that they were born quite a while ago now, right? Like it's a long time ago. I wrote down, so his sun was in Sagittarius. He was incredibly intelligent. Like I've known a few Sages in my life and consuming books and information. He was like that from really early on. Like he was well beyond his Earth years in studying. He could read a book and memorize it basically. And what's interesting, we've talked about a couple of souls like David Bowie and Elvis were born on January 8th. He was born on December 8th. I thought, isn't that interesting that they chose the 8th to come in, right? And he left the same day. No, that's not true. Sorry. So December 8th was the day that John Lennon transitioned. And that, not the same year, but I just wanted to bring that in, right?
One thing about Jim Morrison, when I always think of Jim Morrison, I always think the doors of perception. He talked about the doors of perception. And what I think of that is it's like he thought you could use psychedelics in a good way to where it can manipulate your perception and you could start seeing these other realities like 4D, 5D, like entities and stuff like that. I'm sure he was probably in touch with some entities and stuff.
I believe that. So what I've noticed when I've been doing these starseed origin readings, so he's connected mainly to Sirius B and also Centaurus, but he doesn't have it was like Elvis. So when I'm looking at the aspects, it will show like how many, for now, it'll show maybe like 4 lifetimes of coming in from different planetary systems. He only has 2. Elvis only had 1. So Jim, and what I got, this is so interesting. He's mainly connected to the galactic center. So he doesn't have a lot of aspects that were all over the place, like a Pleiades, Andromeda, like he, in and out. Mainly, so the message I got from him was he came in from the Orion system, which a lot of us did. I've been sharing about this. This has been building. A lot of us got an option to come back from the Orion system, come here, heal, clear, help the planet, and then go home if we choose. And that's exactly the message I got from Jim, is that that's what he did. He knew. And I wanted to pull some messages from him because I feel like he expanded so quickly. Like in his 27 years, I feel like he expanded like he was 100 years old, basically, with all the information and all the knowledge. And if we look at, he did songs about, the doors of perception, transitioning, shape-shifting. He did a song called The Changeling. So that was all about shape-shifting. If we look at how
I gotta listen to that one. I never heard that one.
So if we look at the beginning of how he looked at the doors and then at the end, how he looked, like he changed his look like at least once a year. And he believed in reincarnation. He read all the philosophers. He was very well educated. And I think one of the questions I had for him too was I was wondering if he knew, like I have another theory about souls that really dive into their addictions in the industry is if they find out what was actually behind the industry. If they find out, like if he found out about the reptilians, etc., about what was really going on, and if that freaked him out. So, but yeah, he didn't have a lot of time here on Earth. He was only here once before.
Yeah. We have a couple personal questions if we can get. What do you think? Like,
yes, he was called the Lizard King. We do, yeah. I just want to pull a couple of cards just for Jim to see what you're right. He was called the Lizard King, right?
Yeah.
So that story about the Lizard King, I read so many books about him. I'm just trying to think back. He had an out of body experience when he was about 5, where apparently he was on a road trip with his family, and they came across a First Nations Native American that had passed away and that was on the road, and that he always said that soul passed into him as well. So you're
That's
right.
amazing.
I forgot that he did call himself the Lizard King. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do just a separate deep dive on him. So let me just see what else he wants to. He did share with me that he had some guilt about some things that had happened, that he knew that he was like a mentor, that he had a lot of people following him, and that he felt like he really couldn't live up to their expectations of him as well. So, okay. So I got that he came in to find the divine, and he did use psychedelics. He did use psychedelics to try and find that. He knew that there was a deeper meaning to being here. And I think part of the reason that he left, he was already trying to leave the music industry, which is why he went to Paris in the end, because in the end, he already knew that it was fake and phony, that it wasn't fulfilling his expansion as a soul.
You think that's why he wrote the song The End?
Very much so. Yeah. Like I don't like, we don't have time today, but I don't even know. Like I always wondered for years whether he actually left, or if he just, or if he was just part of that program to go into witness protection for a while and just like transition out of what he was doing. But he did come in to fulfill soul contracts and to remember who he was. And he left via a divine matrix. So he left like through a Stargate system for sure. But I guess he doesn't. Oh, okay. On the bottom is the ancestral realm. Do you want to? Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about his dad. So it's interesting that he chose a military family to incarnate with. So his dad was in the military, and they didn't speak for years because of that. Like he knew right off the bat what the military at that time was all about, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it. So, but and didn't you say you had heard that his dad was part of was it something else?
Like a CIA operation to like bring psychedelics into the hippie community to dismantle it, I've heard. Like, like, whereas he was on the other side kind of fighting for like people's freedom, and not wanting people to go to war, not wanting people to go to Vietnam. You know what I mean? Like, preaching that like psychedelics could help you. So like, it's a really interesting story. You know what I mean? It's a really
story. Yeah. The other interesting thing is with him is that in the end, he didn't like the psychedelics, and he resorted to alcohol.
Karen said this. His father started the Bay of Tonkin Vietnam incident.
Wow. I had no idea.
Tonkin, Karen.
Well, that would explain why he didn't speak to his father for years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh. So he chose, I just got ancestral realm for him. So he chose that family. He chose that lineage to clear up karma and to change it. So he did, right? Like I do believe that when he left his family and went to LA and started with the Doors, he just would tell people that his family was dead. He didn't want to have anything to do with them. So yeah, so interesting, right? But
that is really interesting. That was a cool topic to talk about. I'd love to get even deeper. Like if I can dig up any information on it for our next show, I will. I'll see what I can find.
I think Jim Morrison could be like 20 shows, right? Because he was so fascinating. So because he doesn't really want to talk about it today. All he wanted me to bring in for everyone was that he knew that he was a mentor. Like he started to see that he had been put on this pedestal, and he had guilt around that he couldn't maintain that. He couldn't maintain the momentum that they had. They had keep going. Like people were handing their power over to him, and he didn't really want that. I think originally he went into the music industry because he thought at that time he could change the world. He could help change the world.
Yeah.
So
we have two personal questions. Do we have time to answer them real quick?
Absolutely.
This person I'll do is from Melinda McClung. She sent me a PayPal. Thanks, Melinda. She said, I'm right in the path of the eclipse on the 8th. Does that have any significance for me personally?
Yes. Where are you? Where are you on the path? Can you share with us? Rob and I are going to do an eclipse show. I want a deep dive because there's so much more information coming in now about the path and all the cities that it's hitting. So I think that that's super important.
Melinda, if you're still in the audience, if you could tell us where you're at, that way we can tell you.
Oh, in Texas. Oh, yeah.
She's in Texas.
Okay. Are you near the fires? Or Texas is huge. Or are you elsewhere? Okay. This card is popular today. Got the star alignment. So okay. I think this is like not just a message for you. You're in East Texas. Okay. It's not just a message for you. This is a good like way to just sort of like talk a little bit about the eclipse right now. So I have a couple of theories about the eclipse, but the fact that it's coming through Texas again, which is what the other one did, but it's going up. It's hitting so many main cities, even like in and around New York as well, and then it hits Canada and then it exits. So the path is transforming and will continue to transform all those areas. So Texas is huge, and it's a huge state as well. So with you being there, I mean, you're a star seed in Texas. I mean, I don't think it's a great idea to tell everybody in Texas to leave, but if you get that calling to go, it's your guides and your team helping you go somewhere else, right? But it's not necessary. Like, it's not necessary for us to run unless we're being guided to move. But you and your area, and Texas is going through a huge karmic clearing. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of like clearing of the slate, a lot of maybe information to come to the surface for Texans, and therefore also for the US and the world. So if we think about any kind of microcosm, big system, little system, Texas is a whole massive state on its own with so many different individual areas and different belief systems. So I feel like that's what's going on. It's going to do an energetic clearing of Texas basically and bring truths to the surface. It's also the angelics are there, right? So again, you as well, being a conscious starseed and light worker, you can invoke prayers and angelic frequencies for the entire state before the eclipse and for yourself. So everything is fine. And the galactics all know about it. We got the star gathering again. They all know about this eclipse. They all know what's coming. They all know what it's being brought in for. And it's to help us all move. It's to fast forward the timeline, basically. It's to help us like quantum jump and fast forward the timeline, because the timeline we have been feeling has been very slow. But yeah, it's going to be kind. Okay. It's going to be fine. Yeah. I actually have heard, like, well, Robin, I'll talk about this. I've actually heard like we've been lied to about looking at the eclipses, that it's actually okay to glance at them without glasses, that we're receiving DNA activations and information from the eclipse.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know enough about it. Like that's
we're going to learn together, because I didn't know anything about the eclipses at all. I wasn't paying attention to any of this until the one in 2017, which also went through the US. That one didn't go through Texas. It came in Oregon and went down the other way, went down like around Florida way. But the last one last year and this one, there's like Texas has been the key word as well. We also, we also have a lunar eclipse. So eclipse season kind of opens there's always a lunar and a solar. So we have a lunar eclipse this month, and I'll bring more information in the next show. It's on the 25th. It's with the full moon on the 25th of March. And then the solar eclipse is on the 8th. So it's actually a very close window between both of them.
I wonder if that's good for manifesting. Like, I got to look into that, like it's
well, I think the full moon is usually about letting go, about clearing and releasing. And then the solar eclipse would definitely be like in between that time, between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, would be very powerful for manifesting for sure.
Yeah. This is the last question. This is from Angel Wing. She says, any insight on the newer beings from another universe that are visiting me? They have been removed, though, as they are not positive.
Oh, okay. Angel Wings, can you let me know when that happened? Because I feel like a bunch of us went through initiations the last little while that were not pleasant. So I don't know if you have any.
She says, I think that they're not getting sick. I don't know. She was commenting on something else.
Oh, I think that's why a lot of people are getting sick right now. A hard final purge for a bit to be ready for that eclipse. Yes, I feel that too. So that me like sick, upgrades, transformation. I just went through like a month of that, and for me, I was given that I was already going through what some people will go through the eclipse. So the eclipses can bring up a big purging of energy and to release as well. So. Oh, okay. So I got the Anunnaki card for you, Angel Wing. So this is pretty well like my only dark ET card in the deck. So that's just a confirmation of what you suspected, that the beings are
Or
connected to the
negative.
Anunnaki and that they weren't positive. I feel like part of so I was talking about Jedi initiations, I think a couple weeks ago. Part of our initiations that we've been going through, and you as well, which has not been fun, has been to show us we still have connections to some beings that are dark in other realities and timelines. So for some of us, they've been off-planet beings. I just went through a whole experience with on-planet beings that I didn't even know I had to, and I was told that it was ancestral. So yeah, they were, let me just think. Let me just hear if there's anything else. I'm just hearing that they're connected to the Anunnaki, but they're kind of like a rogue offspring that maybe we don't know very much about, but you had a connection with them. You're just like your beautiful soul. You just know that your heart is connected to source, and that you've just been shown like an initiation, a clearing, a transformation. Because if we have contact with something from Team Dark, Team D, then that might bring up something for us. It might bring up fear, anxiety, stress, like fed up. Like it might bring up a big emotion that wouldn't come up otherwise. For me, I kind of got tired and fed up, kind of thinking like I'm just over this game, right? That's what happens when we get tired. But just know you're connected to the hardest source, you're protected, and it was just for something to help you step into your power. Solar light upgrade. So it's just something to help you step more into your power and upgrade your solar plexus as well.
Yeah, we got one more question. For this one's from the Andromeda. He keeps bugging me in the chat, so it wouldn't be a show if we didn't have a question from the Andromeda. And he says, "Hi, Pink Bell. I'm wondering why I can't return to my andro body, or is it in a comatose state and amnesia?" He says.
I'll pull some cards for you. I wanted to check in with your higher self and see. I'm just hearing it's at a higher dimension. It's at a higher frequency, and it's not that you're not ready. It's that we're in a lower frequency planet, that you're not able to gain access to it yet. But let's see what else wants to come in. Just don't forget, I'm from Andromeda too. So that would be great. So you got the violet flame. So you're to continue to use some type of tool like that to continue to clear at a cellular level. Like if it's something that you listen to at night when you're sleeping, like something like that will help to just decrease the density and activate more of your light. The other message they're wanting me to let you know is that not to forget that the Andromedan galaxy and our galaxy have been so far apart for thousands of years. Like many souls believe that was the downfall. One of the downfall ripple effects of us being on this planet that fell is that when the Andromedan galaxy comes back to merge with our galaxy, which is happening now, it will bring us all back to ground zero to reset, right? So it's coming. Like I'm just hearing you to be patient. And there's also some healing and some clearing that you're doing from the fall of Atlantis. So that's connected. So you very well could still have an aspect. So if we think about past lives, another way to look at it is that's another timeline that's still running. So there's an aspect of yourself that could still be there battling the fall of Atlantis, or you know what I mean? So your team is just letting me share with you that there's still some pieces that you're pulling together before you can have that activation, right? So I've been activated with my dragon protection body. I was given my lightsaber back, but here I am in the physical without my lightsaber. So we all have things like in other realities. We have like when you can leave at night Andromeda and go and meet your Andromedan family on a ship and be in that physical body. But while we're here, it's just a frequency down here that's not like Andromedan frequency is very high. It's very high.
That's awesome. Well, this has been so awesome. Do you want to tell everybody how they can find you and how they can book a reading with you or whatever, and any of your services? And thank you so much. I always have fun when we do these shows.
Me too. It was a great show. Thank you, everyone, for all your questions. Yeah, you can just, my website, I believe, is below in the description box, and email is the best way to contact me. And if you want to follow me on YouTube and Rumble and Telegram, that would be great. I'd love to see you there.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, everybody. And we'll see you next time. And